Okay, so now that I finally found a boss, because I forgot that the fort we're in doesn't have one, it just has that little lion that we one or two shot. So let's go ahead and get ready to take this dude on. So we're going to throw back our potion. I'll forever call it potion. Golden Vow, 45 seconds. Left hands. Braggart's Roar. Braggart's Roar. We are fully buffed. Now we're going to run in and try to get some attacks in. One more. Oof, 1310. Yeah, so that's what the build is designed to do. We didn't really get to crit anything or do any crazy damage. Well, we definitely did crazy damage, but we didn't get to get our critical hits. But I'll have to show you guys that next time. Maybe. Hey everyone, I am the Dylan Damage, and welcome back to the channel for another build video. This time, we have the Executioner's Great Axe build. I took these things, they are beautiful. They're just like from Dark Souls, where we had Dark Souls 3, where we had the Dragon Slayer Great Axe. This is exactly those beautiful, beautiful things, and they're just as broken in my opinion. You can throw a Thunderbolt on if you want, but we are going to be doing something a little bit different because we are the Executioner. This build is all about damage and all about jumping and getting those big juicy crits. So if that sounds like something you want to do, this is where to start. Let's go ahead and start with our starting class. We picked up the Vagabond. You can really start this as Vagabond or Hero. Both have great physical stats. I think you can even do Samurai and almost come out with the exact same thing, but Vagabond and Hero are the two starting classes that I'm going to recommend. And as for our stats, we are still rocking the level 150 strength build with 80 strength, 50 endurance, and 50 vigor. Of course, still not going to those that 60 cap because we're not going to get as much on the HP. And as far as stamina goes, we won't really get stamina, but we will get a better equip load, which could allow us to wear some heavier armor here. Haven't chosen to do so yet, but we might after we get through a few more strength builds. Hey everyone, welcome back. Sorry about the wardrobe change and the stuff in the background, but the newest patch made it where I had to salvage some footage and actually go back and reshoot some stuff for this build video because of the changes to Warcry. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into the items. We still have the Executioner's Great Axes. I mean, the best strength Great Axes in my opinion. They come with the implicit crit, the only strength weapons that really do. I wanted to grab two of them, run around like the Executioner, and just lop some heads off. So that's what this build does. Since we don't have Warcry anymore, or we can't use it to buff two weapons anymore, it makes it where we have to rely on the best roar, which is Braggart's Roar. This thing increases your damage done by 7.5%. It increases your damage mitigation by 5%, and it boosts your stamina recovery. I'm not exactly sure on the numbers, so if you know them in the comments, say it down below, or just check this video again and I'll be sure to update it as soon as I get the numbers for that. And of course it also gives you a poise buff, but that might just be on the charged R2s, and since we're dual wielding, that's not really going to come up. But like I said, we put that on both weapons because this affects stacks. I tested this at the Artist Shack against the Knight, the Lightning Bolt Knight, and sure enough, putting it on once, 5% damage reduction, putting it on twice, it gave me 10% damage reduction, which is insane because we're not just going to stop there. We're going to use a third buff. Our equip load allows us to carry both of these axes and one dagger, so forget what I said about the parries, we're going to carry Golden Vow. The reason being, again, because we get a 15% damage buff and a 7.5% damage mitigation. So since we have these two weapons, we can't wear as heavy armor, but the pieces we do wear really work together to bring this build together and make it shine at what it does. Speaking of what it does, we've got the Dagger Talisman. This increases your crit damage by 17%, which is going to take us to 132% crit damage, but we're not going to stop there because we have tons of other ways to boost our damage, including the 3 buffs that are already on the screen before we get that critical hit. So how are we going to do that? Let's keep it going. We've got the Claw Talisman. This is just going to boost our jump attacks, which is going to be what we're doing because they deal the most posture damage, poise damage, and I mean, they're going to deal the most damage because we get to stack this that gives us 15% more jump damage with the Raptor's Black Feathers. It gives 10%, but together it's giving us about 26% more damage. So that's the number we're going to stick with. This with the Raptor's Feathers gives us that 26% more damage, and then once we get the Rotted Winged Sword Insignia, this is going to give us 13% more damage after 3 hits. That gets to be really, really crazy. And in my current playthrough, I only have the the first version of it that only gives you like 11%, but we're going through New Game Plus right now, and we'll definitely be picking this up soon from Millicent's questline when you help her instead of choosing to challenge her. So we're going to have this to further boost our damage by up to 13%, and then of course we also have Millicent's prosthesis. Same thing. This is going to give us 5 dex, which we're not really going to use on this damage or on this build, but it gives us 11% more damage, stacking with Rotted Wing Sword Insignia, and also stacking with our first flask effect, which is going to be the Thorny Crack Tear, giving us 20% more attack after 3 hits. This is where you can kind of start to see all this insane stuff come together. And yes, it's a strength build and we have a lot of buffs. How are we even going to afford to be able to do that? Well, it's okay, because we can just throw this in our flask. It's the Cerulean Hidden Tear. This is just going to give us free FP. So when we go to a boss or we help someone out with the boss, we drop our flask effect, we hit Golden Vow, and then we use Braggart's Roar twice. And that's going to get us up to 100% more damage, which is pretty insane on our, so 100% more damage on all of our jumping attacks, and then it's going to get us to 4 because 32, so that's going to be 106, so it's going to be 206 damage on our critical hits. And of course the I'm not 100% sure on the stamina recovery on the Braggart's Roar, but fingers crossed that it's 0.75 every tick, and together that would give us 15, which is going to match up to the flask effect. Those are all assumptions though. If anyone can check the math again on that, just let me know. I wasn't able to find a straight answer on it. And because we're wearing, y'all saw it and we're going to get into it in the fashion, but since we're wearing the Pumpkinhead helm, it reduces damage from impacts and headshots. So us jumping through the air, getting caught by random melees or projectiles or anything like that, it's going to help reduce that as well. So this is how it all comes together to do a insane amount of damage. And I mean, you're going through, 2 jumping attacks, you're already fully buffed on your damage, and you can go in for a crit and just do an insane amount. If you want to destroy one of those tentacle monsters, this is a great way to do it. So yeah, as far as fashion goes, it's pretty straightforward. We have a ton of endurance and a lot of strength, so we get to wear a lot. But even with wearing a lightweight piece like the Raptor's Black Talons, since we're wielding 2 giant great axes, we don't get to be too liberal. And one of the things that I wanted to make sure I added to this build because of the reduced headshots and impacts is the Pumpkinhead shield, and it also looks really good with Radon stuff. And it just looks fucking awesome. We're like the Mad Pumpkinhead Executioner that America sent out, and we are going to come back with heads, I assume. But that's pretty much it. There's not really a lot to get into here with the fashion. You can opt to go with something else as far as instead of the dagger, if you want to throw on like the Beast Talisman. Pretty sure you can do that and go for like the resistances and stuff if you're being too squishy or maybe up in like New Game Plus. But this is it for this build. Thank you for watching. Please like, follow, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. Catch me live daily at 12 p.m. CST over on twitch.tv/TheDylanDamage and at TheDylanDamage on all your favorite socials.